Welcome to Great Life Coaching. This is Dragon Six Golf here, and I hear a lot of talk about pandemic still, obviously still going on, politics. Um, should my child stay in school? But I want to talk more about the mental health issues that come across with this. So, in the last several years, we've all seen a divide. So, when somebody mentions pandemic, you already have an idea what the person's political views, what the person's views on the immunizations by how they talk about the pandemic. You can either say, I don't care about my mask, or I wear my mask everywhere, and you have a preconception of what they are as a person. The problem with that is it creates a division because we define people by vaxxers or non vaxxers, red or blue, you know, do you believe in rights for people or do you want order? Just so many different divisive conversations we're having right now. We're not having it with each other. We're doing it on videos, on TikTok, on whatever. So my question to you is when, or not my question, my question. When you hear this, is it possible you to stop putting things in people that aren't there that you don't know about yet? And what I mean by that is if I say I believe everybody should be vaccinated, what are your thoughts about me at that point? You don't know much about me, but you already have these lists of things you're going through in your mind. You already prejudge me, if you will. But that's just what I think. So let's talk about information and research. So luckily, my wife and I, we're both educated. We both have a master's degree, and I'm not saying that to gloat. I'm saying that because we've done research. We've done research papers, and we've even done papers that will have us argue both sides of whatever. So if your subject is should you wear a mask, I can go out there right now and find peer-reviewed information and research on why you should or why you shouldn't. So knowing this, when I see arguments about one thing or another, I already know that most people, when they argue about something, it's because, and they find research to back it up. It's because you can find it there, and you'll go to find research to back up what you say. It's biased. So when they say like when you see people on TV or podcasts, let's say Joe Rogan, he's a hot subject right now. People are blaming him for misinformation. Um, Now I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or whatnot, but the information he puts out there is his original thinking. It's by his experience, and I don't know him as personally, but I do know he's entitled to his opinion, and he lets people know he's not a subject matter expert, so he brings them on. And when he does that, people have problems with that because he brings doctors on, PhD or MDs that are subject matter experts. And after the podcast goes on, people will have lots to say about it. And then we'll say stuff like, before you do anything, you should talk to your doctor. Well, that's not realistic because just to get a doctor's appointment right now, try doing it. See how long of a wait there is. See if you even go to the doctor's office, you might get a telemed, you know, or a phone call. So even that advice, which is what I usually say too, I think about it is like we don't all have access to a doctor. How many of us don't have health care? How many of us can't afford to pay for health care? So this video is going and becoming a rant, and I think that's okay. So what I'm saying is, so we have a history of you know opinions in this country, but then our opinions turn into factions, and then our factions turn into I hate you because you don't believe the same thing I do. That just might be on one item, not everything. So when people talk about whatever it might be, try not to go down the rabbit hole of assuming you know exactly how they live their life just because you're talking about one subject. We all have different life experience. My wife and I often get into conversations where we don't agree. This morning we had a conversation about why I think my daughter might be afraid to tell her something, but not be afraid to tell me something, and how that affects the rest of your life. You know, we talked about her experience and her brother were about a year apart, raised in the same family, same values, but they ended up different. And that's a whole different subject, but you know, we could have easily gotten an argument because I have my own way of thinking, she has her own way, but we just kind of left it as we all have different life experience, and it's okay to disagree, and it's okay to keep living on in the same house and be okay. I feel the same way with people out here in public. So it's so easy to have a conversation with somebody when you're not in person right now. So you type, you make a video, you do whatever, and there's hardly any consequence. But when you have a conversation with a real person, you wouldn't talk to them the way you type. So why are we doing this? This is all mental health. It's like you get some sort of sense of power or endowment because you're behind the keyboard and you just saw a video and you got to say, I don't feel this way because of whatever. You got to stop yourself from doing that. If you don't agree with something, don't watch it. Let them keep going. We have freedoms in this country to say what you want to say. But on the flip side, if you have something to teach, then do it in a way of teaching. Don't do it in a derogatory form. Anyway, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but one last comment about Joe. Man, I know you're down to earth as much as you can. Um, your experience here on earth has been uh, greatly changed by your popularity, and I understand there's a mental health space for that, and you got to do what you got to do to keep yourself grounded. I know you work out hard, you give yourself a hard life that way. That way, you're more in tune, and I think you're as in tune as you can be. But I come to realize after talking to my wife yesterday, you do have a little bit of responsibility to um, get the truth out there. And I think you do what you can. You know, you said you're going to try to schedule doctors of different points of view, one after another. And it just, some of the responsibility falls on you, but most of it falls on people. And you might not want to hear this, people, but if you're listening to Joe Rogan for anything besides what he's an expert in, mixed martial arts and comedy, everything else besides that, I don't see why y'all take him to heart. And I think he would agree with that. So I think in a way, he's changing. He's changing because the Spotify thing is going on, and he's made comments about, public comments about how Spotify is going to put a disclaimer on there now. And, you know, he has no choice but to not only defend himself, but to tell everybody that, hey, I'm just Joe Rogan. I don't see why y'all can't understand that. But Joe, you got responsibility too. This is a rant. I know. My whole purpose of the video just changed, but that's how my mind works nowadays. My mind bounces around. Um, my mind bounces around helping people. My mind bounces around helping veterans, talking to veterans. So I just want to thank you for watching this video. If you watch it, if you don't, fine. Um, let's do something for ourselves. Let's get out of the prejudgmental phases that we're in right now. Pandemic's real, yes. COVID's real, yes. But I don't blame you if I wear a mask and you don't. I don't not like you. I don't not like you. I'm vaccinated, but I don't care if you are or not. I maybe you did some research. Maybe you found something I didn't find. Whatever. It doesn't matter. you're your own person, and just let it be there that way. Just let us stay free. I don't want the government to tell me I got to stay in my house, but at the same time, if they say, "Hey, give me 2 weeks to um, stay at home," I might listen to that. But the more things change and they don't admit to being wrong in the past, that just doesn't help your cause. Government people, politicians. That's a whole nother conversation. Anyway, thanks for watching. Great Life Coaching. This is Dragon 6 Golf out.